So today I'm going to be doing kind of a chit-chatty video. I kind of just wanted to talk about NYU Paris. I recently just got the email that fall 2017 applications for study abroad are being returned, are being submitted right now. So I just kind of wanted to make a video for people who are applying, just to give them some information about NYU Paris, just because for me when I was applying I found it hard to find information about things that were unrelated to academic courses, more like housing and just like overall what it's like to study abroad here. Figured that this video would be really helpful for someone who's in the same position that I was in. The first thing I want to talk about today is housing. Because housing was a very vague and tedious process for me. It was really hard to find information on housing besides just the general name of the building and just what the rooms were composed of. But there are definitely like little bits of information that would have been nice to know before I got here or before I applied to the dorm. So I'm living in Montsouris, and it's by Parc Montsouris, and it's in the 13th arrondissement, and it's a quiet arrondissement, but it's very local. It kind of reminds me of the West Village. It's definitely a little less touristy and more local people that live here that you're gonna see walking around, which I really like. It's just so quiet and nice, and it's really close to Parc Montsouris, which is why we have the name. And the park is huge, and there's a lot of families that go, a lot of joggers, and it's beautiful. There's a lot of trees, and it's just really nice to have a little bit of like nature across from you, because I feel like that was a lack for me in New York, so it's really nice to have that here. And another thing that I think is nice to know is that it's really close to any form of transportation for the commute to school. The commute to school is about 20 to 30 minutes, just depends, honestly. I find that taking the RER, which is like the regional metro, is a lot faster, but I personally take the bus, so you could take the 21 or the 67, I guess, which are both literally like right by here. And they come pretty frequently, and they're always like on time, so if you see it on like City Mapper or on the train schedule or the bus schedule, it's usually here at that time, which is really nice and something that's really different from New York. So that's just something that's really convenient. And sorry I keep looking away, I have them all like written on my laptop so I don't like forget what to talk about. So yeah, transportation game is A1. I heard that at Republique it's not as easy to get to school. The transportation is a little wonky there. So we're just really lucky that we have good transportation. The rooms are like pretty modern. I would do a room tour, like a quick room tour, but it's a little messy right now, so I'm not, but another video I will. But pretty much there is a bed, and it's a twin, and there's 2 giant windows. I'm not sure about the other rooms. I live on the 5th floor in a single studio, so I have 2 giant windows. They don't open all the way, but it's just a really great view of the neighborhood. There's a kitchen, if that's what a kitchenette, I guess that's what you would call it. It's like half a kitchen, but it's functional. There's just no oven or like dishwasher or anything, but that's fine. You can make like the basic things. There's a giant desk, which I really like, and with shelves, and there's a bathroom. And the heating system is pretty good, and it's just really clean, so that I'm happy with. There's the studio option or suite option, which one of my friends is living in. It's when you have your own bedroom, but you share the kitchen and the bathroom and like a living space with another person. So that is also an option if you don't feel like you want to live by yourself, or if you want to live with a friend. You can go downstairs to the front desk and ask for a vacuum, cleaning supplies, a broom, or you can even store your luggages in a room downstairs. I didn't know this. They also didn't tell us this during the housing orientation. One of my friends had to ask an RA if there were any amenities that we should be aware of. So that's what she was told, and I personally have used a vacuum multiple times now, and it's a giant vacuum, but it's better than buying a vacuum or letting your floor get filthy over the semester or the year. That's just good information to know. Also, when you get here, they provide you with sheets and pillowcases, 2 pillows, and a comforter with a cover on it. And they also provide you with pots, pans, plates, cups, a mug or 2 mugs, spoons, forks, knives, a bottle opener, and a can opener. and that was really helpful. Some of the rooms come with more stuff. It's just really depending on what you get. Like, I didn't have any bowls, but other people did. There's actually no gym in this building, but there are 2 study lounges, which is really nice. But personally, I don't use them because the Wi-Fi here is a little spotty. Like, sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. There are a lot of local businesses around here, so there's nothing like super touristy, but there's a lot of good like boulangeries and restaurants and Vietnamese restaurants and stuff like that, which I personally like because the touristy stuff I can always get to because the transportation is really easy, but I'd rather have to travel there than be in the middle of it. So that's just me, and if that's also your personal preference, then I think Montsouris is the better choice for you. The next dorm that I want to talk about is Republique, which I don't live there, so I don't have as much information about it, except for what I've heard from my friends who live there. So it's in the 11th, it's in the Oberkampf area, which is really trendy. There's a lot of cafes and bars. It's usually where I end up going with Michelle to get coffee or eat lunch, because there's a lot of stuff in that area. It's definitely busier and more touristy. There's a lot more people in the streets and stuff like that. I heard their Wi-Fi is also meh. I heard they're all studios, so there's no suites, it's all studios, and they said they're clean. The building's just a little older than Montsouris. There's one perk though, the beds are bigger, so I think they have a full bed versus we have twins. So I mean, if that's something that you like, then Republique has full beds. Pretty much haven't heard anything bad about either of the dorms, except for I know some people don't really like Montsouris because it's too quiet and there's nothing to do around here. But I also heard that Republique gets really noisy and there's puke in the elevator sometimes. So, you know, you pick your battle. But Republique also has a really small gym. My friend says it's kind of gross, but I mean, you take what you can get, right? And the other option that you have is, like with housing, is doing an apartment or a homestay. So apartments, all my friends who are in apartments love their apartments, although the process of getting them was a little stressful because they didn't find out until like a week before they came here. But besides that, they said it's beautiful, they're all in great locations, nothing gross or sketchy and not worth the money. It's also cheaper than doing dorming, so if you want to do that, that's a great option as well. Or you can do a homestay, and for homestays I've heard amazing reviews and also really crappy reviews. So if you want to take the gander, I heard that you can request homestay parents. So if you want to maybe get in contact with someone who's done a homestay and ask them how their experience was, you can always request to have that homestay parent. I know one of my friends is doing a homestay in Trocadero, which is a very nice area where you can see like the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that, and he loves his homestay parents, and so you can request them. At least that's what I've heard. They're always changing the housing thing, so I don't know if that's the same situation, but yeah, homestays I don't know a lot about, but I just know I have some friends who hated it and some friends who loved it. So moving on to campus life, it's not really a campus. The NYU building is one building and we only have the top 4 floors, so 4 through 8 are ours. 1 through 3 I believe are another school or something. So the 8th floor is my favorite floor just because there's windows on both sides, so you can see Notre Dame and the Pantheon, and you just see all the rooftops of all the Parisian buildings, and it's really, really cute, and there's always really great lighting in there, and the Wi-Fi at school is very fast because that is NYU Wi-Fi. Also, the school is in the Latin Quarter, which is known for having a bunch of stuff to do, like Shakespeare & Co. is like really close by. We're also down the street from the Seine, and Notre Dame and the Pantheon. There's just a lot of things to do and a lot of things to eat and a lot of things to see. So you don't have to worry about not having anything to do between classes or after class. If you get off early, there's a lot of stuff to do just right outside the door. It's also a really short distance from the Louvre, so if you ever just wanted to pop in after class or something and see an exhibition, it's totally easy. We also get into a lot of museums for free as NYU Paris students. They hooked us up with a a University of Paris ID, so you really can get into a lot of museums for free. So that is a great perk that I really hope that people take advantage of, because it's incredible. You get into the Louvre and the Pompidou and all of those things for free. Like, what? Going back to school though, the professors here are amazing. They are so caring and nice, and they really genuinely want to get to know you. And also the faculty, people that work behind the scenes, they're also really helpful if you ever need anything. Like Ivy and Fabienne and Delphine, they're like super helpful if you ever need anything, and they're like almost always available to you. The printers are broken most of the time, but since the building is so small, it's very easy to find a tech person to help you fix it. What else? Oh, also for printing, we weren't told this, but I just found out that it's not the same NYU print service download that you have to get. It's actually an NYU Paris printer application or like extension that you have to download. And you just have to come to campus and ask a tech person to set that up for you. You can't do it by yourself. So that's just a heads up, because I tried printing a bunch of stuff from my laptop and it obviously didn't work because it's not set up to the NYU Paris printers. Yeah. It's definitely a very small campus, so coming from the New York campus, it's very different, because at the New York campus, you rarely ever see your friends on campus. It's just huge, and there's so many people, and people's schedules are crazy, and some people have classes like across campus and stuff like that. But here, since it's only 4 floors, and there's only there's under like 200 people in the program, I think, so you see the same people and you have like relatively the same people in your classes, so it's more like high school or like a small college vibe. For me, it's different and not really like my cup of tea. But I know for a lot of people it's really nice to have that, especially if you're coming to Paris with your friends. It's just a lot easier to see them and make plans, because everyone's schedules are like relatively the same. But yeah, it's just also just for incoming freshmen who are going to be studying abroad in Paris for the year. It's just a heads up that it's very different from the New York campus, so this isn't what NYU is like. This is totally different. But that being said, everyone here is really nice. I haven't met anyone that I dislike, and I'm taking all French classes except for my MCC course. So everyone in my French classes really wants to learn French and really wants to be here, so that just makes the learning experience way better versus in New York, when you have people who are just doing it as a requirement and they don't really want to be there, and it's just not the most healthy classroom environment. So last thing, the library was really small but very clean. And I personally think it's really nice because it's quiet. It's not like Bob's. There's like barely anyone in there ever. And the librarian is super nice and very helpful. So that's all for campus life. I'm going to move on to just like the overall vibe or like advice that I have so far. I definitely love Paris. Is it focused? There it is. I definitely really love Paris. It's definitely one of the cities and study abroad sites that will keep you occupied all semester long if you don't plan on traveling a lot, which I'm not, because part of what I think is a study abroad experience is getting to make another city your home and like really get to know it inside and out. And I feel like I'm getting there. Like I can already kind of navigate my way around, and I know like what buses go where for the most part. So for me, that's the exciting part about studying abroad, is really like becoming like more local than touristy, and just really like understanding the culture and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't say I'm a Parisian. I will never become a Parisian unless I live here forever, but I just like getting to know the city way more than on like a surface level. So if you want to do that, I think Paris is one of the best places to do that, because you really like, there's so much stuff to do here. It's like a very culturally rich city, with art, fashion, food. The language is beautiful. Just there's a lot of stuff to do here. Also, if you're under 23 here, you get a lot of perks. You sometimes will even get a discount at a restaurant or hair salons and stuff like that. The food here is so much cheaper than New York. Produce, doing groceries is not something that I cry over. I actually love going to farmers markets and doing groceries. Also, almost everything here is organic, and the laws here for deeming a product organic are way stricter, so it usually actually is organic, not like in the US where it's very like loophole-y. Monoprix and Franprix, and Tati are gonna be your lifesavers here. They're kind of like the equivalent of, Monoprix is like the Target equivalent for the US. Franprix is like a grocery store, but most of the stuff is organic, and they have like local snacks and etc. And it's just a lot cheaper than anything you'll find in New York. And Tati is just like a discount store. You can get like beauty supplies and stuff like that there, so that's super nice. The public transportation system is super reliable, mostly on time, like way more than New York is. It's really easy to understand. It's a little overwhelming at first, but I think any public transportation system is overwhelming at first, but it's definitely easy to understand here. There's a lot of signs, and you can always ask someone for help. The only problem, I guess it's not a problem, it's just the only thing you have to get used to, is that it's not 24-hour like New York. So if you're gonna go out drinking, you have the option of taking the night bus, which is a little sketchy, or you can just Uber it. Uber here is pretty cheap too. I would recommend Ubering it, but yeah, just a heads up, they don't run 24 hours, so if you're having a late night, just be prepared for a terminated bus or a terminated metro, because they just aren't going to run. Most places here are actually not open very late. Even bars are not open as late as they are in New York, so I guess that's just one thing that New York has that's very unique. A lot of places here are not 24 hours either, so you just have to get used to that. And a lot of things are closed on Sunday, so do your groceries before Sunday, otherwise you will be starving on Sunday. There's only certain places that are open, and they're usually only open early on in the day, and they close by like 3 or 4. Dinner places usually open at 6 or 7 or even 7:30 sometimes, because there are very set meal times here, so you just kind of have to get used to it. At first when I got here, it was kind of weird because Michelle and I would eat at like 11 or 12, and then we get hungry at 5 and nothing is open, so just be prepared for that as well. Take advantage of all the free things that NYU Paris offers. They offer theater trips, opera, ballet, weekend getaways, visits to like Lottery and stuff like that. I would take advantage of that because it's free, right? It's part of your tuition essentially. And don't be afraid to try your French, even if you're not like advanced French like my program is. Don't be afraid to try it, because I know that there's a stereotype that French people are rude and mean and they look down on Americans, but it's really not. I haven't had any experience with anyone that was super rude. As long as you're polite and you are being nice and like a decent human being, you shouldn't have a problem. And I think what better place to practice your French than in Paris? But that's just my opinion, I guess. It's really easy to try your French here because people are usually pretty understanding of someone trying, at least, you know? And if not, if you're really having a hard time, most people do speak English. I just think it's part of the experience to try to speak the language. Also, try all the boulangeries. I know that there's a lot and you're gonna find one that you like, so you're gonna stick to it, but try them all because they're all different. They all have their own recipes or formulas for their baguettes and their croissants and their baked goods, so they always are going to taste a little different, and it's just really nice to like expand your horizons because you're not going to get bread or pastries like this in the US anywhere, so you might as well try them here because they're just cheaper. They're like €1 or 50 euros for a baguette, 50 cents for a baguette, so it's just cheap and really easy and just really good. Although most people here do speak a little bit of English, knowing some French is very helpful because especially if you're lost, you need directions, or at a restaurant sometimes, like a local place, they may not speak as much English or may not speak any English, so just knowing basic French like this or please, or like I would like to order or take away, things like that are really useful to know. Even if you can't speak conversationally, for me, if I know how to order in a restaurant, then I'm fine, you know? So overall, I guess I just want to say that studying in Paris is a great experience and one that you should really take advantage of. I highly suggest studying abroad in Paris, especially if you want to learn French, or if you just want to go to a bunch of museums for free, and just be in like one of like the greatest cities in the world. I just recommend it. There's always something to do, there's always something to see or something to eat. So for me, I'm really glad that I picked NYU Paris Study Abroad for my study abroad site. I know that there's a ton of study abroad sites, so sometimes it's hard to pick, but I hope that this video helped you out a little bit, or if it didn't help you decide, I hope that if you've already applied, it gives you a little bit of clarity on what you're expecting. So yeah, overall, I just hope that this video was really helpful, and I hope that I answered some of your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them, and if I can't, I'll try to ask around and see if I can find an answer for you, because I get the stress of like applying to literally study in a brand new country or that you've never been to. I understand that like the more information you have, the easier it is to make that transition. So I am totally understanding, and I will try to get any answers that you guys need. It's definitely easier to hear from someone who's already been here or who is here than to try to find out from websites and stuff, because those are, the NYU website for Paris there's not that much information on it, and I know it's super unhelpful and very frustrating. But if you guys have any other questions on like the visa process, application process, etc., please feel free to reach out. I just want to help because I really want everyone's study abroad experience to go smoothly and easily. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great week. Also, if you want to watch my most recent upload, just watch it down here, and then please subscribe for any other videos and leave me any other video suggestions that you may want to watch. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.